Is it wrong to copy off something that is non-canon to a well-known franchise? Today, I'll be looking into this question as we dive deep into the inner workings of a small American content creator on YouTube known as Alpha Productions. Alpha Productions joined YouTube on the 11th of June 2017 and has gained roughly 15,385 views overall on his channel, as well as obtaining roughly 126 subscribers, with the 100 subscriber mark being hit around late September 2019. But a proper subscriber special wasn't released until the 16th of March 2020, which was in fact used in his second series finale. However, he also has another YouTube channel, which joined YouTube on the 8th of November 2015, and the latest video was a Gravity Falls cover theme made roughly 7 months ago. Anyway, the first video on Alpha Productions channel was released on the 7th of July 2017, and it was called Updated Vortex Intro. It gained 70 views, 1 dislike, 0 likes and 1 comment, which was by himself. His content mainly consists of stop motion fan films based on the sci-fi BBC show known as Doctor Who. Although with Doctor Who gradually decreasing in popularity, content creators of such fan films seem to have a number of people interested depleting, especially from the recent series of the sci-fi show having a badly viewed series finale, which is currently rated 5.6 out of 10 on IMDb. Well-known creators of stop-motion fan films would be, but not limited to, Smith Movies, Matt Movies Inc. 13, Lisa's and Up, Dartman Studios and Phipps Movie Productions, Alpha Productions, just as many others. Has clearly admired these creators, however, he clearly admires them to the extent he seems to blatantly copy their ideas, concepts and certain characters before attempting to send the stolen ideas off as his own content. So, let's paint a picture. The year is 2017, and Dartman Studios is one of the bigger known stop-motion Doctor Who fan series creators, and they've recently started production on their Christmas special and pre-production on their third and most likely final series of LEGO Doctor Who content. DMS are also well known for talking to their viewers through means of a fan chat, and here is where we meet Little Alpha Productions, or back then he was known as LD Productions, because somehow he thought LEGO Doctor Productions was a great name. However, while this is going on, the very small and the relatively unknown creator is setting up his first still remaining series, as before he had been working on several 12th Doctor based seasons but scrapped them fairly early on. The first bit of plagiarism I want to bring up is on the 18th of October 2017. LD Productions uploaded this video to his YouTube channel. As you can tell, this is one of many so-and-so intros, and you may be thinking that nothing is wrong. And for that I say you're wrong, because if we look at the TARDIS, it seems awfully familiar Oh wait, it is. If we look at this Instagram post by DMS on the 24th of June 2017, we find that there's the same look that LD Productions was going to have with his TARDIS. Anyway, looking at more posts on DMS from the 25th of June, 29th of June, and several other posts up to the date of AP's release, as well as the footage of the TARDIS and the trailers for the DMS Christmas special. Basically, my point is, there was enough material given with the research to prove AP looked at the images of DMS and then ripped off their TARDIS and tried to sell it off as his own idea. However, I wish this was the last, but nope. He then copies DMS again with this image. The only thing about this is that the image you see was never actually released in his first series, and the reason why will be made clear later on in the video. Our next look is actually not him basically blatantly using something from DMS, but in fact it's him blatantly taking an entire post-credit scene from Matt Movies Inc. 13, and of course doing the AP thing about it. Well, let's have a look.
It has been a long search, but I have found the weapon, my lord.
My lord, your plan seems to be failing. The Valeyard has failed his duties to end the Doctor's life.
Don't doubt me, Master. Remember who gave you new life. I could take it back if I please. My plan will continue as discussed.
Is that why he's here?
Yes. You will be the one to finish off the Doctor. Now, can we rely on you, Phoenix?
And the third yet not final case is these two images. Here we have two pictures, one with good editing and one with bad. Just like all the rest, however, this is one of the more recent blatant copies, which has definitely irritated someone because The Town of Fear, as the AP episode is called, basically did a lot more than copy this. It also copied the ideas of a mysterious being who plays a bigger part in the series, a weird creature, another blatant rip-off. and it basically takes the entire idea of the Doctor losing and decides to tear it apart to its bare essentials, because that will allow him to get away with it all. Now, we're going to move on to the criticisms I have, however. It will still contain more examples of plagiarism and how this entire channel is built on the lack of creativity and extraordinary levels of narcissism. Warning. This section of the video is a personal observation from what I've personally gathered over my time of research and personal experiences with Alf Productions looking over his content. So, let's roll straight into the deep end. By doing an in-depth look at all his videos, comment sections, Discord server, which is sad to say, gone, Instagram, and the drama he has had with DMS over the years, I conclude that it seems like Alf Productions is lazy, shows a lack of care to his work, and contains a lack of creativity and levels of narcissism. The problem is that if the laziness and lack of care is being shown, then it tells an audience he simply does not care about the content he makes, which can suggest he's doing it for other reasons, which will be brought up in a few minutes. However, looking at some of his work, his animation is sloppy, and I wish that was the only issue, because moving on to the scripts he's written, especially in Series 2, are bland, dull, and don't even give any of the characters a proper arc or development. Well, in the video I did say one point would be returning later, and well, here it is. Now, I had stated earlier on that the scene Alf Productions had animated and copied was not actually shown in a video, and well, here is why. When it came down to the Series 1 finale, Alf Productions had animated both episode 4 and 5 in its entirety, which is why the image still exists. However, when it came to editing, he honestly couldn't be bothered to edit it all in its entirety, which means if you watch it today, you'll see the mess it is. I also voiced one of the companions, and I completely regret that the character named Oliver hadn't even been given any background information, reasons for being around, development of the character, or even a proper arc. And yes, someone may say, well, if you look on his Instagram, he given Oliver a surname and age. No, he didn't. That was in fact me, who created Oliver's surname and age. Now, the lack of care is also shown through his script developments, as essentially he will only ever craft one draft, and says that it's the script for the episode. That should not be a case, as a script should go through several drafts to make sure everything makes sense, as well as the characters and plot actually being interesting enough to entice the audience. And prepare for this next part, because going back to Oliver and Alf Productions' second series, I had actually tried to help him by suggesting things which would have made the series and the characters overall better, as well as the finale being a better overall closing story for the series. One of the suggestions I had made was that Catherine and Oliver, who actually had a past working together at Torchwood, could have possibly had a relationship going back to these days where they were working together. This would have created more emotional attachment when Catherine is killed off in such a poorly executed attempt for Spider-Man's death in Avengers Infinity War. This would have created massive iconic moments in episode 8, as we could have seen Oliver essentially giving up on life or trying to seek vengeance on the Valiard for what had been done to him emotionally and mentally. Anywho, moving on this rollercoaster of a ride, we come to the lack of directorial skills done by Alf Productions, which is overall pure laziness, and instantly proves his lack of care, because if he cared about what he was doing, he should be telling actors how he wants each line to be done, even if it means adding what emotion they should be feeling in the script. However, as he doesn't do this, it therefore means it's up to the actors themselves to decide how the line should be interpreted, which is meant to be a part of the scriptwriter's and director's job. All stories written by Alf Productions in Series 2, aka all of them, have essentially had concept, the story, or an iconic moment ripped off. And this is also where I finally explain Alf Productions, the man who blatantly abducts other people's work to the point where I'm scarifying his work to prove that he's unoriginal, lazy, and an overall narcissist. Alpha Productions had Omega in its LDW series since the end of his first series, where he had told the writer of the first part of the finale to include Omega, since it had recently happened in the DW 2012 fan film / series. For those who don't know, DW 2012 are one of the biggest channels for doing a live action fan series / fan film BBC show Doctor Who. The issue is not the fact that he is using Omega, but the fact he took the idea from elsewhere with the intent of plagiarising the work and then attempts to send it off as his own, which is the same issue I've been put under the microscope to criticise the inner workings throughout this video essay. However, let's move on to the narcissistic actions Alpha Productions has done. Now, those unfamiliar to the word narcissism, I'll give you a couple of dictionary definitions. Collins English Dictionary. Narcissism is the exceptional interest or admiration of oneself. Wikipedia. Narcissism is the pursuit of gratification from vanity or egotistic admiration of one's idealized self-image and attributes. Encyclopedia Britannica. Narcissism is characterized by an inflated self-image, an addiction to fantasy, by unusual coolness and composure shaken only when the narcissistic confidence is threatened, and by the tendency to take others for granted or to exploit them. Now, I'm not saying Alpha Productions is suffering from narcissistic personality disorder, as I'm not a medical professional able to give such a diagnostic. However, I am merely stating that he has the highest tendency to take other people's concepts, stories and scenes for granted. I am also aware that fans of Alpha Productions will also attempt to accuse me to be narcissistic, as I am quote unquote exposing him, which is not my case at all. My case comes from a place of care, as I want him to do good, even if I came across as despising his work. However, being a good content creator doesn't mean stealing other people's content, making it worse with laziness and sending it off as your own. However, back to the points I need to make. Alpha Productions doesn't allow constructive criticism of his work, unless it says the product he has produced is decent, good or great, which then weakens the constructive criticism, which should be real, to the point and strict, because you need to convey to them that they need to improve in these areas, e.g. his animating or script writing. If you say it's decent, good or great, what will most likely happen is they'll then ignore the criticism you've made. Now, these screenshots of the comments do in fact state issues which are wrong with the episodes and what can be improved of. I had 2 comments on his Series 2 finale, Time's End, both of which are no longer able to be seen in the comment section. However, one of the 2 comments basically stated this entire section of this video essay in a much shorter and less in-depth way. Anywho, Series 2 Episode 6, As Time Goes On, and Series 2 Episode 1, A New World also don't have the comments I posted. This therefore suggests that Alpha Productions' narcissism was put in threat, which explains why he has silenced me in the comments I made. These comments were nothing but criticism that stated the issues that plagued the episodes. Let's read the comment from episode 8. This is a very rushed and over a weak finale in your series, as well as keeping to very cliche and following the crowd with the inclusion of the Valeyard, the Master and Omega. There is hardly any proper thought of Catherine's death, and there's no development with the Valeyard or Oliver, who is barely involved with this episode. I mean, there is more, where I do state he needs to try and be more original in his 3rd series, which is unlikely as he has plans to have a longer series than an alleged movie, which I assume shall be ripping off DW 2012 and Matt Movies Inc. 13. But who knows, he might also rip off DMS again. Anyway, let's move on to wrapping this all up. In conclusion, I can state very honestly that I thoroughly believe that Alpha Productions does not care about the work he produces, as therefore losing the fan element in his work, as well as having issues with narcissism, which needs to be addressed and worked on. And finally, to answer the question I gave the audience at the start of the video, is it wrong to copy off something that is non-canon to a franchise? The answer is yes. Yes, it's wrong to copy off something that is non-canon to a franchise, whether it's fan film or not. Doesn't make it fair to steal people's ideas, which have clearly taken a lot of care and effort into making for an audience. So, the future of Alpha Productions is currently unknown. However, one can only hope he will change his methods and ways so that he can become more original in any project he works on in the future.
So my friend Alpha Productions has reached 100 subscribers. He is so inspirational to me that he has created so many great ideas